So how did Headspace get its start?
Yeah, so Headspace started back in 2010. It was launched by our founders, Andy Puddicombe and Rich Pearson. And it really started like as a event company. So for about 2.5 years, they did events. Around 2012 is when the app really launched. And it was 100% meditation. It was just Andy, one voice, meditation content that would take you throughout the whole year. And then since then, it's evolved in many different ways. We've added new modes and content types and mindfulness experiences to what the app is, today.
So how do you get introduced to Headspace, and what's your current role on the team?
Yeah, I was introduced to Headspace, I can't remember the exact year, but it was at my job prior to Headspace, so maybe like 2012, 14, something like that. Might have been a little bit later than that, but essentially or maybe it was 2018, but essentially my job, I worked it was very intense. There were sometimes I'd be managing I was working in content development and creation, and you'd be managing many different projects, 15 different projects at different levels of the process. So my mind was constantly running, and someone in the org decided to get a meditation booth or a chair, in the studio we had, and you could block 10 minutes of time and just go there and meditate for a little bit, take a break. And I just said, I'm going to just give it a shot, give it a try. And so I did that but not in the morning or after, whenever I felt intense or things were moving too fast and I needed to take a minute. So I would go into that chair and either listen to a Headspace meditation or just block 10 minutes off in silence and just sit. And it made a huge difference in how I performed, how I felt. It was just, it was wild how much of an impact that 10-minute block of just checking back in and quieting my mind made. So when this opportunity, the opportunity to work at Headspace came along, I was like, this is, it seems like it's for me such a great opportunity to take my skills and and put it into this really purposeful mission to make the world, a happier, healthier place and be kind to your mind. All these really, I could wake up every day and feel really good about the work I'm doing, So now I am at Headspace as I'm a content director here, and I work on development and strategy around mindful content experiences. So really it's I take science, data, and come up with creative ways to use media and the arts to help people bring mindfulness into their daily routines, and and by making sure that it's engaging and it's effective and accessible. So
that's one of the coolest job descriptions I've ever heard of, I have to say. Really, that's a superhero job description.
I kind of landed here and I went, wow, this is so amazing. I feel like every day is a new challenge. You're just having to figure something out, learning something new. We're working with our science team all the time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm learning so much about my own behavior, let alone how I can impact others, So.
And that's something that I really love about Headspace. There's sort of a whole notion of take care of yourself and treat yourself to this small bit of time, and the radiance that you have in other people's day is so obvious.
It's wild, and it's great. It works. It really works. It's we've had all these scientific validations in peer-reviewed journals that will really show you that 10 minutes of using Headspace or using meditation can definitely reduce your stress levels, increase compassion, for yourself, for others. It's profound, actually, the change that a small thing can make, a small little bit of time can, with mindfulness, can make.
Absolutely. So what is your meditation routine look like?
So I wish I was more consistent, but I think the goal is to just show up how you are every day. And what I tend to do is actually it's in the afternoon when I meditate generally, and it's usually between like around the lunch breakish area. But it's generally when I'm starting to feel a little overwhelmed, or I'm finding that I'm not focusing very clearly. Instead of pushing through, I'll stop and I'll just do 10 minutes. I'll just move away from my computer, sit. I have like a little couch here, so I sit on that couch and I just take that time for myself to meditate. But I tend to use a lot of the music and the sleep casts and sleep music at night to help me get to sleep. So I use a little bit of multiple mindful tools throughout the day.
That's awesome. Do you have like a particular favorite of the meditations on Headspace?
Oh, good question. I tend to be honest, I've used the timer mostly. So I'm like at the point where there's timers that I'll click on, but there's a meditation that I love that's around compassion, building compassion. I have to remember the title, but it's one I tend to go back to all the time, because I think we can be our own worst critics. We're always like telling ourselves we can do more, do better, do this. So it's just always a great reminder to do that meditation.
I love that. So what is Headspace's Durable Legacy initiative?
Yeah, so Durable Legacy is an initiative we started in 2020 around right after George Floyd murder and all the protests and uprising, uproar that kind of happened after that. We was like our call to action, where we're committed to kind of expanding the voices and the topics that we're discussing within the app. So it's really an opportunity for us to diversify the voices, diversify the content, diversify what we're talking about, bringing new people in. We expanded. Part of that initiative was to expand our meditation teachers. So beyond Andy and Eve, who were the two, we now have Cassandra, Adora, Samantha Snowden. So expanding our meditation teachers, expanding the breadth of content and the topics we focused in on, bringing new voices into the app, and just honestly helping anyone feel really seen and heard through when they open up the app and are ready to work through sit and meditate.
Was Durable Legacy rolled out around a similar time as Focus?
A little bit after. So Focus launched in mid-August of 2020. And then Durable Legacy I should say it launched the same time. I would say actually June-ish or right after July. But we probably launched our first piece of content at the end of the year. That was a partnership.
Awesome. So how did Focus come into existence?
Yeah, so Focus launched in August of 2020, and it was really we'd experimented with music back in 2018. It was the first time we really put music in the app, and when we launched a suite of sleep content, and that was really music. There was sleep casts and other things, wind downs, but there was also music that was designed to create the optimal environment for rest. And it was to really create this blanket of sound that blocked out other noises so that you could focus on staying present and relaxed and get a full night's of rest. And we saw that traction there. We saw that start to pick up. And we were like, wow, this is really there's something here. People are coming for this and they're using it, and we think there might be an opportunity to like lean in further. So that's in August 2020, we really like leaned in. We like stepped fully into music, and we brought on John Legend as our chief music officer, and we worked with him to kind of expand our focused music library and create featured artist playlists where we brought on, artists like Erykah Badu and Arcade Fire and Hans Zimmer, all of these really diverse group of musicians and artists to create science-informed music that will help you kind of focus in on, help concentrate, reduce some mind wandering, and focus in on things that matter most to you or what you want to focus on.
I personally love that aspect of it, and even the sorts of sounds and music that I wouldn't normally feel acclimated to, or like, an instinct of pressing play. There's sort of like a trust that's been built with everything you guys have dropped on there that, the curation is very high quality. I mean, it's different genres. I mentioned this in the email. The fact that you guys have all these different genres, but there's still sort of like a mindful thread through all of that is very interesting. One of the reasons why I really wanted to have this interview and write this piece is because I can't think of anybody else in the meditation space that is curating like that in regards to music. So very cool in my opinion. Do you have a personal favorite piece of music on the focus section?
I do. Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that because, I love music, so it was so cool to be able to collaborate with artists in this way, and to know that it's effective, that it's really working. So my favorite, I like all of them at different points, depends on how my mood is. But I actually really love Kindness. Kindness's playlist, Elina's. I love Murder Beats. I like his too, as well as Erykah Badu's. So I kind of rotate, but each day I kind of think about, what do I feel like today? And then, if I'm feeling like something more like cinematic and intense, I'll go to Hans. If I'm feeling like, a little more ethereal, I'll go to Erykah, but.
I totally relate to that. I listened to the Mad Lib one while I was eating lunch today. It was so beautiful out, and that has to be my favorite one, I'd say. And hearing it, like you said, sort of just sets the stage for that effect to like take hold in your day. I loved when you brought up the Hans Zimmer example, like how cinematic it was. Like that's like on a rainy day, there's thunder and lightning. Like that's, it fits perfectly. So are there any new developments with Headspace that you're allowed to share?
Around music or just in general?
Both.
Yeah, I think around music, we're really just focused on kind of letting people know that we've got this curated set of music. We've put music out on other platforms as well to try and kind of help spread the message around. But something that's really exciting also that's happened recently at the end of last year, I believe, is our company merged with another company called Ginger. And Ginger is a mental health, like on-demand mental health care platform where you can get coaches, psychiatrists, therapists at different levels of care. And so we've kind of become our umbrella company we've become Headspace Health, and now we kind of are able to, we're not there fully yet, but the goal is really to provide care across the spectrum of need. So whether it's a meditation and content that can be delivered via the Headspace app, or if you eventually, if you need more personalized care that requires counseling, a coach or a therapist, that would be offered eventually as well. Right now, it's for that the Ginger part of Headspace Health is offered through are like B2B, so for companies. But so hopefully, it will be soon, we'll eventually get to spread that out across our consumer base. So that's exciting. I think that really it's an opportunity to really bring mental health care to across the spectrum to a large audience, and it's really accessible because it would be right on your phone. So yeah, super exciting. There's a lot of developments there, and I think it's exciting. It's going to be exciting to see how content develops around that and how we are able to show up for people in more ways.
That is really interesting. So John Legend, he holds a position at Headspace, correct?
Yeah, so he's the chief music officer, and he works, he's been working with us on building out the music offerings, specifically the featured artists playlists. We worked really collaboratively with him to kind of bring on artists and to curate, work with them to curate the music and whatnot.
That's really cool. What's it been like working with him?
Oh yeah, it's been great. He's truly interested in the work, and he is, actively wants to hear, wants to really be a part of it, which is really exciting. And he brings the real thing about, the exciting thing about bringing him on in this capacity was that, we're stepping into music. We're a meditation, mindfulness company, and we wanted to do it in a way that felt really authentic, and that we had some kind of expertise attached to us. So, since this was a new area for us, we really wanted to be thoughtful about it and intentional about it. And so bringing him on was like a big, opportunity for us to do that. That we felt really confident stepping into that space to have, him kind of overseeing and helping with that, and as well as just kind of being able to let people know that, we're taking it pretty seriously, and we have, one of the most decorated artists, there, in the mix, kind of helping us develop these ideas. So, so it's been really great, and he's super. We also did an like a YouTube series with him called Music. I think it's Music on. Let me make sure I have the right title. Music on My Mind. So he got to work with neuroscientists, like Dr. Yuende Pierce and Dr. Sahar Youssef, to kind of talk about how the power of music and the mind, and how and that's accessible for, on our YouTube channel. And I think the more people kind of know and see how mindfulness can be incorporated in your life in such a easy way, even just through listening to music and helping that shift your mood or helping you focus more, it's a win for us, to be able to kind of share that knowledge, kind of destigmatize this idea of mental health being this faraway thing, or mindfulness being something you do on a mountain far away somewhere, but it just can happen. You can just take 5 deep breaths or sit quietly for 10 minutes and, and start bringing it into your everyday routine. So I think that's that's a big win for us. And it's very exciting to see that, I guess, just the idea of meditation, mindfulness, and mental health being destigmatized everywhere.
You guys are definitely succeeding in that. When I started with Headspace, I definitely felt a reluctance to immerse myself in meditation, and I didn't understand fully all the ways that meditation could benefit people, and also all the different forms that it comes in. I think that's one of the most interesting aspects of Headspace is you could be going through anything in life, and if you're aware enough to identify what it is you're feeling, then Headspace meets you there and has got exactly what you need for that specific thing, which I found insanely useful when you're navigating just life, and you don't, sometimes you don't know what the next answer is, or you can't, talk yourself out of something. So it really is such a special resource. And like, I'm such a fan. I interview artists, and I feel more like starstruck with this interview, because this is like what you work on has such an active effect in my life. Like, with whatever it is, I'm at like 670 days right now.
Whoa, that's really good.
And there were times where if I hit a lull, like if something happened that threw me off, like there was a risk of me losing that streak. But Headspace definitely helped like address those things and feelings and whatever, and definitely made me feel equipped to deal with whatever life throws at me. So thank you personally for that.
I love that. No, this makes me feel, this is like so great to hear. It's I love it. It's like really why I'm so excited to like work here and wake up every day and like do the work. So thank you for sharing that. It's like so great to hear. I'm so happy that like the content is like, being impactful, and then you've like mastering bringing mindfulness into your everyday.